Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we're going to do a review for Dino Eruption VR, a game released on the Steam store January 22nd, 2021 by developer Multiversum GmbH. It's available for the HTC Vive, Valve Index, Oculus Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality. It normally retails for $24.99. It came out in early access. It's on a release sale, 20% off. And I got a free Steam key through the Steam Curator Connect program to review this game. I tested this game out on the Oculus Quest 2 using the Oculus Link cable. Dino Eruption VR is a VR adventure game. The developer says the campaign is 5 hours long. I'm unable to confirm that because I faced a game-breaking bug which stopped my progress in the game. It also has a Dino survival mode. I did not test that out. I just can't recommend Dino Eruption VR unless you just want to support development of this game. That would be the only reason to buy this game at this point. I understand the game is in early access, but right now for me it just has too many bugs and it's just too janky for me to recommend. The only reason to buy this game at this point is to support development. If you believe in this developer, and he is pretty ambitious in his early access plans, and there is something to this game. It could possibly be fun in the future, but right now as it stands it's just too buggy, and if you buy it you just have to accept that it has lots of bugs and it's very janky and it's probably not going to be a lot of fun. This is one of those games that actually could have been so bad that it's actually good to play. Unfortunately the bugs just prevented me from even giving that kind of recommendation. There were lots of times where I had laughs at this game while I was playing it. There's this one very funny scene in particular where you were facing an NPC and that NPC is telling you about how to feed the dinosaurs, and he's showing you how he has this big piece of steak he's going to feed to the T-Rex, and then the T-Rex just eats him up along with the steak, and I just laughed. It was really funny. I don't know if it was intended to be funny, but it was hilarious in my opinion. Unfortunately, like I said, there's just too many problems with this game for me to recommend it. The voiceovers are pretty bad. The story is out there. I don't know if this developer was on some drugs or something, but this story is out of there. It's kind of wild and I kind of like it because it's so crazy, but at the same time there's just too many bugs. The voice work is terrible and it's just hard to really enjoy this game even with the crazy story it has. And you'll see the game breaking bug that I experienced at the end of this video. Basically there's this NPC and you're supposed to talk to this NPC and you have some choices to choose from, but I was unable to pick it all from the dialogue. I was able to pick from the previous NPCs that were available, but for whatever reason this NPC was bugged, and once you go down to talk to him there's basically no way out, so you're pretty much stuck there with nowhere to go. You can't open any doors, you can't talk to him, you can't select any of his choices. You're just stuck in that loop with nothing to do other than restart the game from the very beginning, and I wasn't willing to do that. Dino Eruption VR is running on the Unity engine. On my RTX 3080 I was getting a steady 90 frames per second. I did not experience any performance issues, so that's good. You do have full locomotion and snap turning. Unfortunately this game has one of the worst control schemes, and I would have liked to see more options, more settings available in the options menu that you can actually tinker with. The only options available are for sound or for comfort level. You can turn a vignette on or off, and that's it as far as options available. Like I said, the interactions are terrible, and that starts with locomotion. To snap turn, you actually have to press N on your joystick button on the Oculus Quest 2, and that is just very inconvenient. To take out your bow and arrow, you're actually pushing a button on your controller, and you have to keep that button pressed down in order to keep using your bow and arrow. So what happens is that you cannot move while you're using the bow and arrow, at least I couldn't, and it's just a very clunky process. Using the bow and arrow just didn't feel right. There are different types of arrows, but they seldom work correctly. When I use grenades, they usually dropped on the ground, they usually exploded at my feet, causing me damage. There were also lots of interactable objects in the world, and the way that you interact with them is just a laser pointer and you point and click, and the problem is it's a very clunky process, but also they didn't always work. So yeah, this game It's just clunky all around. There was one time where I actually got stuck in the terrain and I couldn't move at all. I was completely stuck in between an object and I had to restart the game in order to fix that. It was very annoying. I had to restart this game several times, and I just got to a point where I got to that last fatal error where even restarting the game didn't fix my issue, and there was just no way for me to continue playing the game, and my progress was completely stopped. And the combat just didn't feel good at all. Using the bow and arrow just isn't fun. Even with the different types of arrows available, it's just never a fun process, especially when the special arrows don't seem to work most of the time. There's just so many problems with the bow and arrow mechanic, from the arrow drop not seeming to be correctly, to the hitboxes for the dinosaurs seem to be very inconsistent, and the bow and arrow just needs a lot of refinement for it to be something fun. Even drawing arrows from your shoulder is a very clunky process in this game. It's just not fun at all. And while I did like the kooky story, the actual combat was pretty plain, and the climbing was also not very good. And lastly, just the voiceovers, the sound work here is pretty bad. The music is awful. You couldn't tell from the sounds where anything was coming from. It was just uneven sounds all around. This is one of the worst sound works I have ever seen in a game. So I just cannot recommend Dino Eruption VR. I know this game is in early access, but what's here is just not enjoyable, and you're paying a good amount of money for this game. It should be in better shape. Even in early access, I expect the game to be more playable than what this game is. So I just can't recommend it. The only type of people I would recommend this game to is those who want to support VR developers, indie developers. This is a solo dev working on this project. It's very ambitious. It might be good in the future if he keeps working on it. He could fix out all the problems of this game. It could definitely be something enjoyable in the future. But for right now, it's just not good enough for me to recommend. And if I have to rate it, I would give it a 4 out of 10. It's not very good. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. If you like my review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the video. And I do show that bug at the end of this video.
Your health has been restored.
Arrows stored. Robots stored. Headshot. Bomb stored. Bomb stored.
Your health has been restored.